is warming. There is a strong correlation between a warming climate and decreased runoff in the Colorado River. Well, the centerpiece of Glen Canyon National Recreation Area is Lake Powell. Lake Powell is the second largest reservoir in the United States, a very close second to Lake Mead, which is the largest reservoir in the United States. So what we know is that there will be an ever decreasing amount of water flowing into Lake Powell from the Colorado River, from the Green River, and from the San Juan River. But what we also know is it'll be highly variable. There will be more drought years than big water years. Every once in a while, it'll be a big winter and we'll get a big snow year. Those will be fewer, but they will still come, so it'll be highly variable. But what happens to Lake Powell is not only about decreasing runoff, it's about how society makes decisions about what to do with that water. And so probably the most important point is to say that the fate of the reservoir is contingent partly on climate change and partly on society's response to climate change. You could preferentially store your water, albeit less water, but you could preferentially store it in Lake Powell. Thereby, Powell would be full. You could preferentially store it in Lake Mead, and Lake Powell could be empty almost all the time. Right now, what we do is we keep the contents of Powell and Mead equal, approximately equal, and they both go up and down. But when you have the largest and the second largest reservoir in the United States in series, separated only by this ditch of bedrock that happens to be a national park, but it's just a bedrock ditch, you essentially have the two largest reservoirs in the United States separated by a ditch that you don't lose water out of. So you basically operate the two reservoirs as if they're one, except that politically the Lake Powell is in the upper basin, Lake Mead is at the lower basin. There's political shenanigans, but right now the political decision is you keep both of them half full. You don't have to do that in the future. So the fate of Lake Powell and the fate of Glen Canyon NRA and the centerpiece of its reservoir is determined by the political agreements about how to share the pain of drought. And though that pain, the renegotiation of that pain is a renegotiation that is supposed to begin sometime in 2020, has to be concluded by 2025. So there's 5 years to renegotiate. It's those kind of negotiations that will carry the fate of Glen Canyon NRA, which now has the centerpiece of reservoir recreation, right? And reservoir recreation is going to be the furthest thing from anybody's mind. That is like, it's pretty much an irrelevancy. And it's nice to know, but that's the last thing on anybody's mind. That longer and more intense droughts will come, and therefore the only focus of management of Lake Powell will be to do whatever it takes to meet the needs of 40 million people, not any houseboat person. And to assert otherwise is just to be silly.